back. Special edition of One True Pod as we just recently wrapped up the introductory press conference with Doug McNamee, the new athletic director at Baylor. Initial impressions for you of this hire for Baylor and maybe your initial impressions of Doug.
Yeah. I mean, he seems like a very friendly, likable guy. Obviously, he worked at Baylor 7 years ago, went to Baylor, met his wife at Baylor, has kind of been a Waco guy ever since then. So he clearly knows a lot of people here and a lot of people at Baylor. And I just think, Baylor, this was to me a very clear sign that Baylor is really thinking that the next venture of college athletics is going to take a lot of money and you need a lot of fundraising. And from all of his resume and everything, he's a good guy to do exactly that. So I have some questions about some of the other side of things, about the actual athletic side of things. But from a fundraising standpoint, it sounds like it's a perfect guy.
Obviously, one of the things that makes a good athletic department is not just the AD, but the people you have around you. And so I do think it'll be important maybe for Doug to surround himself, whether it's people that are already on staff or new hires, with some people, like you said, that maybe fit in some of the areas that he's unfamiliar with.
Correct. And I think like you wrote a story earlier this year about Jovan and Landry and how they were like this big part, this growing part, and it was Doug who said, "Hey, Jovan, apply to this position." As you wrote earlier.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's a unique thing that someone like Doug, who has went to Baylor and talked about, going and seeing his parents' gravestone at a nearby cemetery before interviewing. It seems like he has a very deep personal connection, maybe more so than Mack-Rhoades did. I wasn't here for that one.
Obviously Mac was more of a traditional hire as athletic director. He had done the job already. This is all new territory for Doug. He's done it on a smaller level, associate type level, but now he's the guy, and there's a difference with being the guy and being the buck stops here guy. We did, of course, ask him about football and dave-aranda. That's to me that is job one. He seems to understand that. He talked about how Dave had brought some good memories, like he brought up 2021, the Big 12 championship game, and he brought up the night that they wrecked Patrick Mahomes's jersey night. Chad was at that one with us. He was not in a good mood. But he said, "Look, I've talked to Dave 5 times in the last 36 hours. We need more of those memories." And I think every Baylor football fan would should certainly agree.
I mean, that is priority one, and I think that whether Doug is going to have to hire a new coach in that realm is to be determined. But I think one thing that I did kind of get from this is that he's going to give Dave every opportunity to kind of show what he's got, even if it's his last shot. Like, he's going to let Dave kind of do his job.
Yeah.
And I think that's good for Dave. I think that's good for Baylor football. And I think that's good for Baylor moving forward.
Yeah. Now, I wrote, and I mean, I've said this before, Dave's got to win at a big level next year. To me, I'm thinking 9-3 or better. That's asking a lot.
Tall task.
It's a tall task. We'll see how the transfer portal thing goes. It does seem like they've got a lot of eggs in that basket.
Oh yeah, big time
for sure. So we'll see how that goes. But we also asked. I thought it was interesting to hear their take on Baylor declining a bowl game that happened over the weekend. So if you weren't following all of that, there weren't enough 6-6 teams to go around. There were some 6-6 teams that actually declined bowl games, including K-State, Iowa State.
Those were due to coaching changes,
Coaching
which kind
changes.
of makes sense.
Right. And Linda did say something like some of those schools were in the same position as us. No, not necessarily. The coaching changes is a different situation. But um, the the move to decline the bowl game when you were so like this is what we want to do, win this game for these seniors. How did you kind of take it?
I'm not surprised. I mean, I think that Houston game really felt like a pop of a balloon, and like you kind of like released kind of
Mm-hmm.
you were almost like you didn't. I don't know. It kind of it was like the pop of a balloon where it's just like, the season's over. This is what it was. This was a team that had flaws, and everybody kind of dispersed. And I think that if they had played in that bowl game, it would have been, I don't know, would they have enough players to play in the bowl game? I think what I'm saying is I think the season for Baylor ended the moment the Houston game ended. And for them to just pick it up 2 weeks later, I think that would have been a tall task.
Yeah, I think you're right. Once you have said, okay, we're flipping the page to
Right.
the off season, it's hard to reverse course and just say, oh, hey, guess what, guys? We're gonna play after all. Especially if you're already into sort of reshaping the roster for next season and all of the things that go with that.
It
So
would have been fun. Like it would have been good for the players that are coming back. But then again, I imagine Sawyer Robertson is not going to play in that game.
mhm.
Then it's just another opportunity for players to tamper and poach your players for next season.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of reasons why, I see them not playing in that
uh,
game.
to me, there's a bigger question about like whether these bowls are going to exist,
Yeah.
going forward. And the irony there is, I remember last bowl season, a lot of those bowls still did pretty well
Yeah.
in TV ratings. Like people will watch college football.
But I think that if Baylor had beaten Houston, they would have been like gung ho for that bowl. So I
Sure.
just think it's a timing thing more than a desire or,
Mhm.
you know,
And it was interesting to hear Linda say, we didn't earn a bowl trip. Well,
he's
you're
honest.
right.
He's honest.
You're
You got to
right.
give her credit with that.
5-7. Typically, that would not get you to one. So this is a weird year. Um, well, going forward, what do you feel like? He was asked that question, but what do you feel like Doug's first priorities need to be?
That's a good question. Obviously, I think he needs to really kind of this might not be the easiest thing to do right off the bat, but I really think he needs to kind of repair Baylor's
Mm,
uh, relationship with the fans, with wake
image,
of,
yeah.
because like right now you think of Baylor and like there's a lot that maybe from the outside people don't like, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of hard to believe it. I saw some people were saying about this hire, even it feels like it's like you're reading an Onion article. It's like
Mm.
Chip and Joanna-Gaines are running Baylor now. But like, so I think that there's a big picture like fix that he needs to make in terms of Baylor's image, not only locally but nationally. It's just like, all right, here's the plan. Here's very, very clearly stated. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And I think everything he said today leads me to believe that he can do that.
Yeah, so the gist of my column that I wrote, you mentioned that it's TBD in terms of what he does with dave-aranda going forward. I basically said, to me it's TBD on, if he's the right guy for
Mhm,
Baylor, Doug
mhm.
McNamee. Um, I I agree that I think he's a smart guy, well respected guy. Everybody that's worked with him has very high opinions of the work that he's done. And he sounds like he's going to work hard.
Mhm.
He's really invested. He's a man of faith, which is important at Baylor. Um, and so I think all of those things are good, but do they make you a good athletic director? Well, the things that make you a good athletic director now are can we make some money? Can we hire some good coaches? And, can we win some games?
And
Like,
say what you will about Mack-Rhoades, he could hire a coach.
yeah, he could. He hired some good ones. one of the complaints Baylor fans would have against mack-rhoades is that like he ran off some good ones.
That's true.
Too,
That's true.
Obviously we're talking about Kim Mulkey there. Like he, I think Mack probably told Kim no in some cases where she was used to hearing yes. So, that relationship went sour, but yeah, so no pressure on Doug McNamee or anything, but he's got a lot to do. And it was funny to hear him say, "Yeah, I've only been on the job 3 hours," and
But I saw Nikki Collin here. I saw Mitch Thompson here. I didn't see Dave-Aranda, but
yeah,
he's probably
I didn't see Scott Drew here, but I'm sure he probably was here.
Yeah.
He's also a big Doug McNamee guy. They put out a quote from Scott, just him giving the thumbs up. So yeah, I am certainly willing to give Doug the benefit of the doubt.
Right,
and
right.
Here's some big things I think he has going for him. Besides the fact that he is a Baylor guy, first of all, he worked for the Houston Astros.
You love that.
Love that.
You love that.
But no, in all seriousness, I thought it was interesting when he brought that up in the moderated thing they did, because he talked about he worked in ticket reconciliation,
right,
or whatever it
right.
was, and he mentioned that basically he was dealing with people who were pissed off,
because they sucked, right?
Well, or they were mad because the game day experience wasn't what they wanted or whatever, and he talked about trying to get people that were angry or apathetic back on your side. And
that describes Baylor pretty well.
Exactly. I was like, wow. I mean, you couldn't have, when he said that, I thought that is the Baylor situation right now. So if you can get some of those people back on your side, you're already ahead of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if it were that easy, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like some of the things he was also saying, it's like, if you do that, everything else will take care of itself, which I don't know if I agree with that much. If the people are on your side, everything, but
no, it's a chicken and the egg thing, and basically what's really gonna, besides the money and the hiring the good coaches and all of that, what's really gonna say whether he's successful or not is, do the teams win?
Right.
That's what it all comes down to, and he doesn't have complete control
Correct.
over that, but he can certainly help.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, again, no pressure, but we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, probably a little more than some people out there.
It's so hard. Like, an athletic director is not a coach. Like, with a coach, we have, all right, he went this, he was this record at his former school,
Sure.
or his defense ranked here when he was a defensive coordinator, or this is how he's, like, with an athletic director, and especially with Doug, like, he worked at Magnolia, like, he worked at Field and Stream, and like, yes, he's maybe run a lot of money, but we don't have like a record, so it's harder to, I don't know, but
no, it's very, it's that's why I say wait and see.
We'll see.
So all right. Fun times.